All right, let's keep rolling here. So, headline number two, Nike unveiled a new material that again thinks it could, quote, change the apparel industry. According to a Tuesday press release, Nike has introduced a material it is calling Forward, which is created by, quote, hacking punch needle machines, end quote, which I have no idea what that
Oh,
means.
I looked it up.
Oh, you did?
It's impressive.
Oh, I can't wait to hear about it. Nike has the production process for Forward, or sorry, Nike says the production process for Forward results in a carbon footprint that is about 75% lower than that for producing a standard knit fleece. According to Retail Dive, the first products with the material, which is comprised of 70% recycled content by weight, will be a gray hoodie and crew neck. No surprise there. And the products will be available globally on September 15th. Moy, let's go back to you on this one since Dave closed out the last one. What are your thoughts? Will this move the sustainability effort forward, pun intended, in apparel, or is this not that much to write home about at this stage?
I mean, listen, I'm not very close to the technology, but if you think about the concept, the headline here is a small step in the right direction, right?
Yeah.
Um, Irrespective of whichever we want to think about climate change, and I know people might not agree on the pace and the magnitude of change, this is something which is increasingly important for consumers and the next generation of consumers. Um, I think I was reading on this. The fashion industry is responsible for more global carbon emissions than all international flights and maritime shipping combined, right? And
Right.
that's a fairly big number, right?
Right.
And you see examples of this, be it like the recycled raw materials, which different companies have adopted, or the recycling program in denim. Levi's adopted that. There's a bunch of others which followed suit. There is gonna be new ways where every single fashion and apparel company will have a version of their sustainability program, and we are increasingly seeing it with clients in the last, I would say, 3 to 5 years, where they're starting to do things, which is, again, I say, a small step in the right direction. But I think where the market is, as it relates to the consumers and their buying behavior, it is still not materially raised itself to a threshold where, for your entire consumer behavior, it becomes one of the key purchasing prioritization criteria, right?
Hmm.
But the
Right.
market will eventually move there. Would it get there in the next 5 years or 10 years? I don't know, right?
Hmm.
But this is everything. This is everything which will become super more important. Where if you think through what really matters for a consumer in their purchasing intent, price, value, is it sustainability, and it's a question of time before sustainability starts becoming, the top priority criterias, if not the most important,
Right.
but maybe in top three. And that's where every single fashion brand around the globe has been taking their version of it.
Hmm.
So definitely a step in the right direction. I'm personally very excited with the numbers, around 75%
Yeah.
reduction in carbon emissions. That's great. I have worked with a lot of denim companies, and I remember this was like a decade back, but you end up going through like 4,000 liters of water
Oh
to
yeah.
make one denim.
Yeah.
So that is a huge impact on the environment. So I'm personally very excited with it. But I think there's a lot more which needs to be done in this space.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, and I'm sure you went down a rabbit hole, I'm guessing, based on
Oh,
how you responded when I did that read on the punch needle machine or whatever
yeah.
it was. So what's your take? Are you kind of where Mo it is, or what are you thinking?
Well, I just wanted to learn about, like, I guess my question is always when you put out a product that's 75% more sustainable,
Right.
that's a significant increase. And so
That's a step change.
I'm
I think
always,
that's a definition of a step
yeah,
change.
I'm always wondering, like, okay, that's fine if you make like two products. So, like, how does that look at
Right.
scale? Like,
Right.
what is how
Right.
realistic are we going to be about going from like 0 to
Right.
75% when you look at the just the scale and quantity of product that Nike puts out? So I think that for me, the question is really going to come down to what does this look like? Like, if
Mm-hmm.
you look at the, I don't mind the looks of these two products,
Mm-hmm.
but there's some key things about them that are different.
You
Like,
don't know how it feels
there's
yet
you
either.
don't know how it feels. You don't know how long it lasts. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you can't put this in the dryer,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm sorry, but every single mom of kids who
Right.
are buying Nike things are throwing stuff in the dryer. I don't know
Great
that they're
point.
going to be hang drying and whatever, all of the
Mm-hmm.
special care. Maybe they will, but then there's like no reinforcement of the seams, like all
Right.
the finishes, it's
Right.
raw. Like, this is a raw garment. And
Right.
so I think it's going to take some time to see if like fashion and the look and wear of this ends up being appealing, or if Nike has to scale back and maybe we start at, it's 50% more sustainable or 30% more sustainable, and then like Mohit's talking about, work our way to like really make this a product that's going forward at scale. But I think Mohit's right, it's a step in the right direction.
So step in the right direction. Kudos for that, but still a lot of questions about how this works
Absolutely.
long term and has an actual impact for the average consumer. Dave, what's your take here?
It's interesting. We just released a report on sustainability, and the term that kept coming up was greenwashing, where it's retailers that say they're going green, but the things that they're doing are so minor that they're actually not really having a big impact. I agree with Ann. 75% feels like a real impact, and I love that. If this innovation really is that big, then this might be one of the first kind of step out things that isn't greenwashing, that is really moving the needle, and I love that. The second thing is, I agree with Mohit in that I think Gen Z and millennials care more about this than I think some executives that aren't Gen Z and millennials understand. So activating Nike's marketing machine to tell this story might be a big unlock in terms of getting the ball rolling that other retailers will be forced to follow.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Like, I think I'm where you guys are too. I mean, and real quickly, I want to tell an anecdote here because this reminded me of something that I knew very well 10 or 15 years ago, but I'm a little skeptical of it too. I want to buy into it. It's like you said, it's a good move in the right direction, and kudos for trying it. But I can remember when I was a towel buyer at Target, and all the Target executives demanded that I put organic towels into my assortment, right? And it basically was like, you're going to do it kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, you can't say no. And I did it, and it sucked. They didn't sell. They came in like 3 crappy colors because you can only, to your point, Ann, you can only get so many different colors on the material. And they didn't sell. And honestly, they probably still don't. I don't even know if you can even get organic towels anymore. Like, you probably can't, or there's probably not very many options of them. They didn't proliferate like you'd expect. So I feel like that's the same thing that ultimately could happen here, which gets me a little bit depressed about it, quite honestly, when you look at how people want to consume things. But I think, Dave, to your point, I come back to you. Saving grace is Gen Z still seems a little more conscious than the average towel consumer probably is, circa 2007 when I was making these decisions.